Alright, hello peoples. It's been a couple of weeks since I have done a video because I have been busy. Um, so yeah, this video is kind of a little bit about like time, I think. Time is weird. I've noticed in the last few weeks time seems to be kind of like my experience of time seems to be different than it was before. In that like 2 weeks feels more like a week, and a month feels more like 2 weeks, maybe? I don't know. It just feels like it's condensed, or my experience of it feels that way. Um, I'm not sure what the meaning of that is, so that's something that we'll keep an eye on. Also, yeah, I think the individual experience of time, like from day to day, has also been changing, and I think that has to do with something kind of with the shared consciousness of the people. So, yeah, time. It's a little shifty, a little different than it was before. That might just be something that I'm experiencing, like some kind of an Arcturian thing that I'm supposed to go through. But it's helping me like slow down a little bit and see the patterns that are existing, both in myself and in the people around me, um, so that I'm maybe not so harsh with again with myself or with the people around me, because it seems like everybody's going through kind of an internal struggle of some sort, about how to cope with something or how to progress in some aspect of their life, or whether they should make a change or don't make a change. And it's one of those things where it's like in life sometimes making a huge change requires like um, you know shifting a lot of stuff in your own personality or in your patterns or in your lifestyle, your friends, your motivations. But sometimes not making a change requires shifting a bunch of stuff in your mind and your perception and your emotions. If you're going to stay in a situation maybe that's not that you feel like you just don't have the energy to make a change away from yet, sometimes that takes just as much energy to stay in something. So it's tricky, I think. But the self-reflection is like the big part of what's going on now for most people, I think. Um, at least the people that are experiencing all this stuff. And I think that's healthy as long as we don't get trapped in like self, um, you know, like destruction basically. So you can reflect, but I like to look at all the patterns of all the things and then look back and think, okay, these were in old energies, we're moving into new energies, and so I do not expect these patterns to continue. I expect new patterns to emerge, and I expect to be surprised by the kinds of patterns that I'm going to see coming out of both the people around me, myself, and the world in general. So that's kind of an interesting interpretation that I'm having. I don't necessarily know if it's accurate or not, but it's something that's helping me kind of move through the self-reflection part, and understand certain things about both myself and about those around me. So yeah, like the stuff at work has been interesting because I've like finished, as much as I care to admit, like I finished a huge project. I don't ever like things to be done, so in my mind I still have more parts of this to work on, and I'm still going to keep going. But the part of it that like was, I thought, the hurdle that like I've done it somehow in the last few weeks. It was a lot of like mental stress and stuff and like emotional turmoil because I actually have more trouble finishing projects than with starting them, just because it gets me emotional to think of like finishing something or ending something. Just endings in general get me emotional. I like things to be kind of open. And I'm kind of getting to that point where, maybe it's good for certain things to be ending. Maybe it's good for certain things to be closed. Maybe it's good for certain things to fade away. And linear time is an experience so that you can experience something uniquely. And it doesn't mean that just because something is a certain way one time doesn't mean that it always has to be consistently that way. That there'd be no point of having variety in linear time if it just, you captured a moment and you just held on to it forever. So, yeah, that's kind of how that goes. It seems like it's easy to get very distracted by media and by politics and by all of the things going on. And I think it's designed to do that. It's designed to distract everybody and keep people from looking at themselves, and seeing growth. By constantly showing you things around you that are broken or are failing or are, you know, problems, it makes it hard for you to see the growth and the potential and the things that are happening within your own mind and your own life. So yeah, I'm trying to tune out a lot of that lately, just because I think it's healthier for me. I recommend that for most people. Um, yeah, I think that the thing about self-reflection is that like you have to forgive yourself for things that like not just for things that you've done, but like for the way that you've reacted or the way that you've felt about something. Maybe when you look back on something, you realize that like wow, you know, like you maybe shouldn't have reacted a certain way, or maybe you harmed people around you by you know becoming overly emotional over something, and you know like one has to let go of those kinds of things in order to move to a point where they can move forward. You know. And I think that's the important thing to remember is that we're not supposed to be stuck. We're supposed to be moving forward, all of us. Some of us are going to be moving at a different pace. Some of us are going to get stuck occasionally. But it's really up to each individual to move themselves forward now. Like, I can't push anybody to do something they don't want to do. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but even if he's dying of thirst, he may not take a drink. And I think that's the hardest part in life now, at least for me, is watching other people not realize the patterns that they're in, or not realize the fact that they're basically, I don't know, that there's an easier way, that people are getting trapped in certain patterns within themselves, and I think it's designed to do that to people so that they never really move past it, but it's really not that hard to move past things. You just have to let, I think the thing with me is, like, when I get emotional over any kind of an incident, I assign the emotion, if I feel an emotion, I start assigning the emotion to a person or a place or a thing or something that's going on around me that's causing me to feel this emotion. And I think that's a mistake. I don't think that we can always do that. I think often some of the emotions that we're feeling are coming from things either non-linear as far as time is concerned, or even non-dimensional as far as what we can perceive currently. And until we learn to tune to these other dimensions, we're going to be constantly feeling these emotions hitting us, and we're going to try to pick things in our lives that are causing these emotions. And maybe nothing is causing the emotion. Maybe the emotion is there for you to check your life, make sure there's nothing there that resonates with that emotion, and then letting it go. You know, moving through it and letting it go, so that it's not part of you. It's like you pick up mail at the post office, right? And you look at it, and there's a letter that's not addressed to you. You don't freak out. You hand it back to them, and you say, "Hey, this is the wrong mail. This isn't for me." You know, that's how you have to treat some of these emotions. You know, you sort through them like they're mail. And if it doesn't resonate with you, don't try to make it resonate. Don't think, oh no, this doesn't have my name on it, but I do have an account with that bank, so maybe this is mine. It's not. Something to think about. We'll end this here, but we'll check in again.